So for our next speaker, let me introduce the next speaker who will discuss the different online selling platforms and logistical support services available for MSMEs. Ang tanong nga, how do we go from here, or how do we start? So let us hear from our distinguished speaker on the topic of on online selling platform and logistical support. He is a distinguished speaker on the topic of entrepreneurship from several reputable organizations and institutions such as De La Salle University Graduate School of Business and GTI. He is also a graduate of Digital Marketing Institute. He is the founder and lead consultant of Enlit Coaching and Consultancy and co-founder and CEO of Powdell Incorporated. Friends, let us all welcome our next speaker, Mr. Arrian Lim.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So,
Good afternoon.
yes, thank you for the kind introduction. No? Yeah, I'm seeing 75 participants. So, medyo marami tayo compared dun sa first session. So, thank you again for inviting me for this second stint to USAID and Surge. No? I'm greeting everybody, our audiences from Puerto Princesa. Kamusta kayo dyan? Hope everyone is doing well. Especially ngayon, no, sa new normal. Very interesting yung first topic ni Jasper, and it's very helpful sa aking next slide. No? It's going to be easier for you to digest. I'm seeing a lot of messages here. Could you please type in lang yung inyong mga businesses so I can, relate my presentation sa nature of your businesses, especially from Puerto Princesa. So I can cite some examples. No? Anyway, I'm going to share my screen now to start my presentation. Okay. So yeah, my topic will be orientation on online selling. No, this will help you to successfully grow your business in the new normal. We know very well what happened in the past 3 months. We were all not prepared. No? Nobody's prepared for what happened during the pandemic. A lot of businesses, it's sad to see some businesses already closing down. I even have some friends who had some restaurants na they had to lay off people just for them to survive. Many people think yung nangyayari ngayon sa atin, yung new normal, it's something na, nobody has foreseen. But if we're really following the trend of digital marketing or e-commerce, this is really bound to happen. It just so happened because of COVID-19, it was accelerated na it caught everybody by surprise. So now, I know most of you are into business already. So, you're very familiar with your business. You're probably running your business for several years now. And you're very good at it, the traditional setting, the retail, or the handshake deals. But now, because of the new normal, you have to really adapt. How do you make your business survive? I've had friends, gaya na sabi ko kanina, who are struggling to survive. Because they think, e-commerce or digital marketing is probably 7-10 years away pa, and they are really unprepared. So from a traditional setting, how do you now take your business online? So how do you make it contactless? Take your business online, making it contactless is, part of our efforts to heal as one. Okay, because you're avoiding, physical contact. And it's also part of the greater effort to recover as one. We have to help our economy recover. We have to resurrect the economy. We have to provide stable jobs to our countrymen. So how do you take your business online? How do you make yourself relevant in the new economy? So most people think when they want to take their business online, their default action is to go on Facebook, or probably go to Shopee or go to Lazada. And rightfully so. no? Wala namang masama doon. But before you even consider, starting a page on Facebook or probably the first two should ask your mind is, who are your customers and what do your customers want? Why is it important to ask these two questions? Pareho lang yan ng traditional business mo. If you really know your customers, if you have probably a car wash business before, alam mo saan mo inatayo yung car wash business mo. You know that this spot is where cars, they pass through this spot, this location, probably after a busy afternoon from their work, from vacation, tapos gusto nila palinis yung kotse nila. So you put your spot here, no? Not on the left side, but on the right side. In other businesses, probably if you're running a restaurant or a canteen, for schools, you know very well this is the foot traffic of students, of teachers. So dito mo ilalagay yung restaurant mo. So in e-commerce or digital or internet business, in the same way how you try to get to know your customers, ganun mo rin gagawin how to get to know your customers online. So because of COVID-19, probably, the very same customers we were targeting in our old business model, they may still be the same, good for you if they are, or they may change a little bit, or probably drastically, no? And you have to get to know your customers. Where do they shop? Where do they consume media? That's why there are two important attributes for you to really know your customers are their behavior and their psychographic attribute. For example, some people told me, Arrian, mahirapan yung business mo kasi it's a pet supplies, it's not really an essential business. So tama naman sinabi nila. During the month of April, we only had 3 orders for the whole month. Tatlo lang, no? And that was during the age of shock of the enhanced community quarantine. People were shocked kasi takot sila eh. They were still in a state of fear and panic. Kasi hindi nila alam, can I still have my job next month or the next quarter? Can I still have my business next month or later this year? Or magkakasakit ba ako? Am I gonna get COVID-19? No? Even though I'm staying at home, but you have to go out, go to the grocery. Am I gonna contract COVID-19? And gagastos ba ako sa hospitalization ko? So people were really, in a state of shock. But during the month of May, immediately, pagka-lift nung enhanced community quarantine dito, May 16, the last 2 weeks of May, we sold over 50,000 pesos of goods from our website. So, you see, the way we understand our customers now, they are now trying to adapt. They're starting to adapt, During the month of March and April, talagang in a state of fear sila, talagang hawak nila yung pera nilang ganun. And they're only buying the essentials. They're only buying water, rice, ulam nila, meat, vegetables, probably vitamins, alcohol, and stuff. But now, we're seeing a spike in the consumption of non-essential goods. Most of these are for, what do you call this? Home essentials. So we're seeing the spike of the purchase of computer laptops, because people are now going to work from home. Students will have to study from home. So maybe there's a laptop, they're buying computer peripherals. People are buying working tables. People are starting to buy now, home stuff for home consumption, but not necessarily for emergency or really essential. So part of that are my products, my business. Because pets are part of of the household. So kasambahay mo yan. So hindi mo pwede sabihin hindi sila essential. They're still your family member. Sabi nga nila, millennials are treating their firstborn as a child. So we're seeing a spike now in the purchase of non-essential goods. And we really have to adapt in such a way na yung consumer behavior ngayon is starting to change. So, balik tayo sa topic. Now that you know your customers, now that you know, ano na bago sila, where do they consume media? People that I know, I wouldn't think that they would sign up on TikTok and do videos, crazy videos na nakikita na sa Facebook. But they're not on TikTok. So, you see, people are starting to change. I've seen some people starting to spend on dogs na hindi naman nila ginagawa dati. Why? Because they spend more time with their dogs now. They spend more time with their pets now. So they build more stronger bond with their pets, with their dogs, with their cats. And for my business, I did foresee that during the month of March. Natatakot rin ako, sabi ko, nako, mukhang kailangan, ang benta ko na siguro dog shampoo and dog food. But no. And that's part of the evolution of the consumer behavior. So ngayon, now that you know your customers, you probably have an idea. Saan ko ba dadalhin yung business ko? And in my first session, I saw some participants, actually they asked, but sabi nila, where do I take my business if I'm selling, I think he was selling a side dish to Metro Manila-based hotels and resorts. So most people think kasi, when they think of e-commerce, they think it's for Facebook only, it's for Shopee. They think na it's for B2C only. That's why it's important for you to really understand your business and malaman mo na how can you really reach your customers. But e-commerce is not just for B2C, for business to consumer. It's also for business to business or consumer to business. In the case of C2B, it's like Upwork or B2B. I'll show you later, mamaya, how can you take your business online as a B2B business. If you're not doing retail, like for example, if you're a supplier to hotels, if you're a supplier to retailers, to large conglomerates, etc. So when you think of e-commerce, it's not just retail, okay? And that's why it's important for you, again, to assess. Una-una, internally, yung digital capabilities nyo. Can I take my business online by having my own website? Can I take my business online by managing different or several platforms, social, e-commerce platforms? Or, no, medyo solopreneur lang ako, tapos ngayon lang ako magte-take ng business online. Probably I'll start with peer-to-peer. So democratization of e-commerce means, these tech companies have done a great job, of widening the access, and making e-commerce inclusive to many more types of businesses. Before, when you think of digital marketing, tingin mo pang millennial lang yan, tingin mo pang big companies lang yan who can invest in certain technologies. But right now, people from different demographics, from different backgrounds, from different academic backgrounds, they can now start their business online because of these technologies. So later, I will show you what are these different digital solutions that you can begin with. Depende sa level of confidence and skill mo on how you can take your business online. So later on, I'll expound later, elaborate later, how do you really take your business online. So before you take your business online, before you even start to click that button, create page, to create a page on Facebook, the first and foremost that I suggest, whatever your business is, the nature of business, the background, you should bring it to Google My Business. Google My Business is free. Libre to. Okay? Why is it important? For me, this is the digital equivalent of the Yellow Pages directory. No? I heard Jasper kanina, he mentioned that LinkedIn is for, it's like the Yellow Pages directory for business to business or professionals. That's right. But Google My Business is also a Yellow Pages directory, sort of, for any business, not just B2B, not just for professionals, even for retail. No? So you have to take your business on Google My Business. It's free. Why do you need to do so? If you saw it earlier in Jasper's slide, in previous slides, he said there that 91% of Filipino consumers do a research before they make a purchase, either online or offline. And alam natin lahat yan. Before I bought this phone, I went to Globe because nawala yung phone ko. I immediately went to Globe. I know for a fact that I need to replace my phone immediately because I have some deals going on. Na I don't want to miss any calls, miss any opportunities or any messages. So I went to Globe and papalitan naman nila yung phone ko kasi I'm subscribed to their plan. And guess what? I didn't make the replacement that same evening. Sabi ko, think about it. I went home, umuwi ako, nag-drive ako na walang phone. I risked missing calls, missing images, missing messages, missing emails from my clients, from my customers. Why? Because I want to make an informed decision. So mag-research, is this phone really good for me? Is this phone good for my business, for my lifestyle? And I did the research from that evening until the following afternoon. I made the purchase probably around 5, 6 p.m. the following day. So why am I saying this? Taking your business on Google is the purchase decision of a consumer, a customer. malaki dyan yung part dyan nag-research. Matatalino na customers ngayon. And where do they do the research? 92% of the search engine market is dominated by Google. So most people do their research, they begin with Google. They don't begin with Facebook, they don't begin with Instagram, they start with Google. They just flick up that screen and then they type something on the Google search bar. If it's a restaurant, a cheesecake, let's say a headphone, you type there, and Google provides you results. So if you're not listed on Google, Google's not going to recommend your brand, your business, your product, or services to consumers, to customers who have a high intention to buy your product or service. Katulad ko, kailangan ko palitan yung phone ko. I can't imagine having no phone for 1 week, 2 days, 3 days. But, kita mo, nag-research pa rin ako. Where did I go? I went to Google, and then Google started giving me this, review pages for different cell phones. So, what does Google do to your business? It gives you instant visibility, especially if you're a local business, if you're located in Puerto Princesa. If let's say I'm a tourist or a visitor in Puerto Princesa, and I'm looking for a place to, let's say, probably I lost my eyeglasses, to have my eyeglasses replaced, and I type on Google, where are the optical shops in Puerto Princesa? If your optical shop is not visible in Google, you lose the opportunity to sell. You lose the opportunity to be known by a Manila-based visitor. You lose the opportunity 92% of the time. So it gives you instant visibility. It gives you search engine optimization because Google favors to rank e-commerce websites that are listed on their Google My Business page if you have your own website. And most importantly, ito yung pinakagusto ko dito, it gives you reputation. You cannot do a review on Google if you're not a Google user. If you're not a verified Google user. A lot of us has Google accounts one way or another. We have a YouTube account, we have a Gmail account, and different Google accounts, So it gives you reputation. So customers can leave you a review, and anyone who's searching on Google, who has a high intent to buy, they will see the feedback of your customers. And lastly, especially if you don't have your own website, is you can showcase what you are offering, whether it's a product or a service. You can showcase it. Google is like a showcase, virtual website. Para kung may website, then you can showcase what you're offering, the information about your business, your story, the inspiration, etc. So before you do anything, you'll do this. Libre yan. And then you get instant customers or you get instant leads because of Google My Business listing. Next, now you want to take your business online. Nakaset up ka na sa Google My Business. Now, where do you begin? E-commerce, a lot of people think, kailangan ko maglagay ng account on this platform. Need to set up a Facebook page na magaganda yung post, maganda yung copy and yung following. But more than anything else, bago kayo matakot, malula, ma-overwhelm sa e-commerce. E-commerce only has 4 basic elements. 4. And ako favorite ko maggumawa ng analogy para doon sa mga nagsisimula pa lang or nag-start pa lang pumasok sa e-commerce so they can have, a solid grasp of what e-commerce is and parang hindi sila matakot. Because after all, parang ganyan lang din pala. That's what I was doing when I was doing my traditional business. So what are these key 4 elements? First is traffic. So whether this is organic or whether this is organic or paid, you have to think of ways how can you generate traffic to your business online. Okay. In my analogy, in your traditional business, if you're going to put up your business, where are you going to put it so you can have, a steady flow of traffic, of leads, of your target market or your potential customers. If let's say I have, medical supplies or a pharmacy, I better put up my pharmacy or my drugstore in front of the hospital, or probably beside the health center, okay? Or if not directly in front of the hospital, probably beside the parking area of a hospital. So that's how you generate traffic. That's how you find your footing in your business. So in e-commerce, how do you find that footing? How do you place your business strategically for you to have a steady flow or stream of potential leads or audiences. How can you build your community, your audience? So sa traffic, in e-commerce, parang yan, kung ako magtatayo ako ng social media, let's not even talk about e-commerce kasi mas madali nyo maintindihan social media. If I'm gonna put a social media page for my business, maglalagay ba ako sa Facebook? Or probably I'll put it on YouTube. If my business is about, DIYs and I'm selling, some home improvement, machinery and tools, I probably, I would have a Facebook. But hindi pwedeng mawala din YouTube. Because of course, you have to teach your customers, the users, how to properly use your machineries, your tools. If you're selling probably home ingredients, you probably want to teach them how to cook their own food. If you're selling, let's say, a service, like if you're doing music lessons online, lalo ngayon, then isn't YouTube the, a best place to really generate traffic, generate interest for your business? Next is conversion. So in traditional setting again, conversion is like, in your shop, when people go to your store. No, let me first explain what the conversion is in e-commerce. E-commerce conversion is optimizing your business, okay, for the customer to take the next desired action. So ibig sabihin, before I even click that add to cart button, you might want to encourage your user to click the picture. Zoom in. Probably you might want to encourage the user to download the price or the quotation, the price quotation. You might want the user to probably comment on your content. Like if you posted a video about your product or your service, you want him to, let's say, engage with you and, ask questions, or probably if you manage a high ticket item, you want your customer to click the FAQ page in your website. If it's on your Facebook, then probably, meron kang paid post on the top of your Facebook page that says, the most frequently asked questions on your business, do ilagay, okay? And same with the other e-commerce platforms. So ibig sabihin, for a customer, if he's passing by your store in a traditional setting, let's say I'm walking down the street, I need a haircut right now. I'm walking down the street. Let's say my Suki barbershop is still not open, and I desperately need a haircut, and I'm walking down the street. If I pass by this barbershop, hindi ko pa kilala tong barbershop na to. I haven't tried, but I will see it when I pass by it. I see the barbershop. And if I see the barbers, naka-uniform, yung sila mismo magagandang gupit, then probably that might encourage me to open the door. Hindi kaya. And then when I open the door, if I smell that familiar scent of a barbershop, amoy pulbo, and inaamoy with alcohol, the feeling. So now, it encourages you now, again, to come forward to the cashier, probably to the reception, and inquire about their barber shop services. So let's say, lumapit ako, and then I ask, magkanong haircut, sabihin nila, let's say, 200 pesos. Kaya nyo ba yung gupit na ganito? Kasi ito yung gupit sa akin lagi ng barbero ko dati. Yes, sir. Actually, gumugupit na kami yan. Meron kami picture niyan. He shows me an album of their, frequently cut hair, what do you call this? Frequent haircuts performed. And makikita ko, nga, kaya nyo gawin yung haircut na gusto ko. Then that encourages me to sign up and say, sige, pagupit ako. You list my name, and I'm gonna go on queue. So that's conversion. Para sa traditional retail, ganoon din sa e-commerce. How do you encourage your customer to take the next desired action? That is conversion. Ganoon din sa e-commerce. So now we discuss traffic, now we discuss conversion, and now you can easily relate what traffic conversion is to your traditional business. Payment, napakadali. You know very well. Alam dyan tayo, pinaka-excited. When they pay either for their product or service, you receive the payment. Ang nawawala lang naman sa traditional business and versus the e-commerce, in traditional business, there's no fulfillment. No? Meron siya, of course, but it's not as complex, or it's not as complicated as e-commerce. In e-commerce, after you receive the payment, then that's when you fulfill the transaction. You fulfill the purchase. And that is bringing the purchase to the customer's hands, whether that is digitally or physically. So these are the 4 key basic elements of an e-commerce business. As long as you can provide all these 4, regardless if you have a website, an e-commerce platform, or you're doing peer-to-peer selling, as long as you can have these 4 key basic elements, then you're good to go. You can start now your online business. Okay, so the different online selling platforms for MSMEs, let's start with the most basic, the easiest, the most user friendly. Actually, hindi nga user friendly, but the most basic, the most easier to understand, to comprehend. It's very simple. Peer-to-peer selling is the most basic form of online selling. Let's use an analogy again para mas madali nyo intindihan. Imagine if, let's say, I work in an office, and I love to cook. Probably I like to bake, and during lunch break or during break times, office coffee break, I would love to take out my pastry products. Let's say gumagawa ako ng pastillas or gumagawa ako ng cheesecakes. I would take it out and offer it to my office mates left and right, probably sa boss ko or probably sa katabi mo office, and you make some money. So peer-to-peer selling is very casual, less, little to no intervention by third-party intermediaries. Ibig sabihin, ano ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin, parang casual selling if you're selling in an office setting. Wala kang POS. Wala kang cashier. Okay, probably wala kang resibo because it's very casual. It's, side hustle. So most businesses start as a hobby anyway. So, ganun lang. It's very casual, very simple, very straightforward. Okay, meron akong cheesecake dito. I have, 6 slices more, one for you. And you collect payment, you give them the cheesecake. That's it. Okay? So, in peer-to-peer selling, ganun din siya ka-straightforward. You list your product probably in a Facebook page. You probably list it in a Facebook community, Facebook group. Or probably, do it, let's say, on Instagram, and, you post some pictures of the items that you wanted to sell. That's listing, and so you help the customer make the decision if they want to purchase from you. If they see the picture, more attractive in picture, they see the price, reasonable your price, value for money, and most importantly, if it's still available, So after you list the product, you also transact. You do a transaction by most of the time you do this, pagka sa messages, ginagawa nila PM send, bawal na ng DTI ngayon nun, Sabi nila, bawal na daw ang PM send. And you do the transaction. The problem with peer-to-peer selling is, especially if you're not a known brand, lalo na wala kang brand, you just do it casually, is yung trust issues. If I'm gonna pay 200 pesos to this guy, am I really sure I'm gonna receive the money? Or, am I gonna receive the product or service that I asked for? So, yun ang problem or issues sa peer-to-peer selling. Later on, I will share you some practical tips on how you can establish trust mark. So you can transact securely with your customers. So you can establish credibility. You can establish security with your customers on transacting on the internet. And lastly, deliver, which is to fulfill the product or service, which is, to take it to your customer. Now, in peer-to-peer selling, alam naman natin yan eh. Madali. Mag-post ako ng picture, somebody sends me a message, I reply, ganito yung price, etc. And okay, let me get your delivery address, I'm going to send it to you. Ganun. But is it really practical? Is it really efficient? Really not. That's why my tip is to use some different technologies or existing solutions on the internet for you to put some efficiency on your online business. Hindi porket peer-to-peer selling lang. Hindi porket very casual lang yung pag-start mo ng online business mo. You're gonna keep it that way. The way I see it, sabi ko kanina, most businesses start as a hobby. Ganun din dito. Most internet business start as a peer-to-peer selling. If they see there's a market for it, they probably improve. They either put up their own website or they sign up to more e-commerce platforms. So when you list, you can either use Google Forms, you can use Google Express, you can use Box. And at the same time, you can also transact through these solutions. Ibig sabihin, you can already send an invoice to your customer, to consumer, through these platforms, and then they can transact securely. So they're using these platforms in itself already establishes a trust mark by affiliating your business or your product to more reputable or more established third-party digital commerce solutions providers. And more importantly, yung delivery. So instead of you delivering the product yourself, I live in a gated community in a subdivision. we have a lot of online sellers in the homeowners group, and they still deliver the products or services themselves. Although kahit proximity lang yan, syempre, that's why we're doing e-commerce or contactless settings. We want to eliminate or minimize the risk of contracting COVID-19. So let me elaborate, step by step for conversion tips, or by listing your products or services, you can use Google Forms. I think most of you can do this. The fact that you were able to sign up on Zoom, alam ko kayang-kaya nyo gumawa ng Google Forms for you to effectively list your product and sell. Or, the good thing about Google Forms kasi, it's free. It's entirely customizable. Wala kang babayaran. The cons lang kasi is there's no automated integration with your e-commerce backend. Later on, bakit hindi maganda ang integration, ang automation sa e-commerce? So, medyo, wow, automation, integration, parang ang lalim yan. Parang kailangan ata IT gumagawa niyan or, digital marketer. No. You can do automation, integration, kahit wala kang e-commerce background, kahit nag-start ka pa lang. So you can also do it with GoGo Express. This is a paid platform. So you can easily send the invoice of your the customer's purchase using their platform, and then you will receive their payment. For in this case, they are specializing in COD. So I will share you lang on how GoGo Express how GoGo Express backend looks like for you to have a better grasp of what it is. So I'll share my whole screen. I think it's here. No. Yeah. So I will share my screen so you can see how GoGo Express backend looks like. Okay. GoGo Express. So GoGo Express is similar to Expose. Mamaya pakita ko. So for example, if I'm somebody is trying to buy, let's say I'm selling let's say I'm selling cheesecake, say. So I'm selling a cheesecake. So I can probably, let's say I'm selling a headphone. So I put in the item name of a headphone. Let's say I'm selling it for 800 pesos. And then I select which pouch I want.
1,000
So you just put in where is the pickup address. And then let's say yan. Okay, so for example, ganito. Because of meron pang lockdown sa area. So we'll try. So I think the whole Puerto Princesa ata, is still under lockdown. Pero sige, let's try another location. Let's say I'm from Bataan. And then pickup point is from Balanga. Okay, so choose a barangay. Okay, so maraming, Bataan pala is Say, let's use my location. Okay. Let's say I'm from GMA. So now you can proceed. So now gawa mo na yung sales invoice ng customer, yung order details, and now you can either send it directly to your customer, okay, by generating a link, or you can input the rest of the delivery details yourself. Pero ako, I prefer, if you're doing peer-to-peer selling, is you let the customers do the fill up of the delivery themselves para mas ma-minimize yung margin of error if you're manually, transferring the delivery details from, let's say, a social media page or a Facebook Messenger to this information. So you generate the link, then you type in, you can have this option, and yeah, you can now share now a payment link, no, to your customer, and you can send it on Facebook Messenger, on Viber, WhatsApp, text message, and the customer now can do the rest of the transaction themselves. And now you instantly na-fulfill mo na yung na-fulfill mo na yung purchase ng customer. Okay? Yeah. So, that's how we do it with GoGo Express. How about with the other platforms? Very similar lang din. Wait, lag. So that's how you do it with GoGo Express. It's very intuitive. No, napakadali. You just put in the item name, put in the price, and the pickup details. They can pick it up from the comfort of your own homes, and then they will deliver it to your customers. So you can offer COD, which is still the primary mode of payment of most e-commerce businesses. You can also have another platform. So kanina pinakita natin yung COD or cash and delivery. You can also have payment tips for peer-to-peer selling. This is very quite similar to GoGo Express. You can easily generate a payment link and then send it to your customers, and they can do the transaction, the payment over the counter in any 7-Eleven convenience stores nationwide. But now, because of the new normal, we want to minimize, consumers going out of their homes. You can also do e-wallet payment like PayMaya, and ganun din sa PayMaya, you can also send a payment link for your customers to transact and make a cashless transaction. So now I share to you how you can effectively list your product. How can you do the transaction? How can you establish a trust mark with your customers? Kasi ako, I'm more likely to buy from a customer who uses these payment gateways than doing, pwede niyo po bang deposit na lang sa bank account ko tapos yung bank account details name after an individual. So parang ako medyo hesitant ako noon because, what are my anong habol ko if you don't fulfill my my purchase. Now, lastly, the third, component of peer-to-peer selling is the fulfillment. So you can either do pickup from the comforts of your home, by using GoGo Express, and or Payo. Payo is also available in Puerto Princesa City. In GoGo Express, I think for Puerto Princesa, you can have the option of drop-off at any LBC branches nationwide. So even sa city nyo, you can do that and fulfill the purchase of the customer. So for food, you can also use Food Panda, and you can also use same-day delivery with Lalamove. So if you will notice, doing peer-to-peer selling, yes, it helps you by using all these several digital solutions to optimize your business. But ang pain point sa akin yan, especially if I'm already a growing business, is I have to log into several different accounts just to fulfill one single transaction. Maaring hindi mo naisip ngayon if you're just starting, very excited ka for your first customer online, and you're willing to do anything, whatever it takes, to sign up to all these platforms to make the purchase successful. But as you grow, there is a bottleneck, an inefficiency of back-end daily operations. Especially kahit meron kang Lazada, kahit meron kang Shopee, 70 to 80% of MSMEs, their revenue or their sales come from social media platforms or their own web channels. Why? Mamaya malalaman nyo bakit when I discuss the portals. Just to give you an example, let's say, yes, I have an e-commerce platform at Lazada. So Lazada is like the SM of e-commerce platforms. So it's like a department store. If I have my, let's say my headphones, being sold at SM, and let's say if I have a below-the-line activity, let's say nagkaroon ng piyesta sa Puerto Princesa, and then syempre, binigyan ka ng slot, binigyan ka ng opportunity to have a kiosk, probably a booth dun sa plaza or sa bayan, sa downtown. And somebody walks to you, sabi niya, ganda ng headphone mo, can I buy it? Okay? What will you do if you're in e-commerce? Pwede mo bang sabihin in a traditional setting, pwede mo sabihin sa customer mo, sorry sir, we cannot sell here. Pwede ka bang pumunta sa SM para doon namin mo mabili yung headphones namin? Do you really think the customer, that person will go all the way to SM just to make the transaction? In the same way sa e-commerce, especially if you're running a social media page, if you're running digital marketing, you don't just run marketing on an e-commerce platform. Of course, wherever your customers are on the internet, whether they're on LinkedIn, they're on Twitter, they're in Pinterest, TikTok, uh, Instagram, Facebook, you have to be there. And if you have a lead, no, not necessarily a transaction, if you have a lead, no, you cannot tell the Facebook user, can you go to Lazada for us to serve your purchase? Especially people on Facebook, we don't go to Facebook to shop. We go to Facebook to check on my ex-girlfriend, to check on my friends, to check on my office mates, my relatives from overseas, probably to check some funny videos or funny posts. But I'm not there primarily to shop or to buy something. So if you're asking me to leave Facebook and go to Lazada, the chances are he will not do what you're asking from him. So it's better that you integrate your business, you integrate in a way na you can easily do the transaction if the Facebook user is already asking for it. So that's why I'm sharing you another platform to use for you to simplify your online business management. Most businesses kasi, when they want to take their business online, ang una nilang naiisip, okay naman, tama naman yun. Una nilang naiisip is what their customer sees. Okay, the front end. Okay, I see your Facebook page, I see your post, I can see that you have like a chatbot sa messenger mo, and yeah, you can deliver. And happy si customers dito, especially if you're nagawa mo na maganda to. Okay? So this is what you see on the front end. But what happens on the back end? Happy ka rin kaya? Let's say if you're having 10 customers in a day, okay? And let's say it takes you probably, let's say 30 to 40 minutes to fulfill one order. So that's already, 6 hours a day for just 10 customers, okay? By, efficiently, tagging which inventory went to what order, kayo payment ito, you will not get the cash instantly unless you're doing e-wallet payments. Kahit e-wallet payments naman, you have to encash it. So how do you manage your business from the back end? Okay. For example, I'll give an example. Sa business ko, most of my customers, they make the purchase mga past 8, 9 p.m. And at that time, I'm probably trying to snooze or trying to take a sleep, or probably watching something on Netflix, probably enjoying the last dance, and you don't want to be interrupted. For example, I'll give you a scenario lang of how customers, make that purchase. Ang alam mo lang, pag nag-send sila sa'yo ng message or you receive that order, yun lang nakikita mo. But what you do not see is this. I will share you an example from my own back end. For example, I'll show you here. I prepared this one para sa inyo. This happened in February 3. Okay, my customer saw my Google ads on Feb 3, 7:49 p.m. He checked out the name tags and the letter dog colors, and then she left. Okay, and then she saw my ads again at 8:25 p.m. Okay, and went back to my website. So she went back to my landing page and left. Okay, after 7 days, 7 full days, 1 week, she saw my ad again. Okay, and then went back to my website. And look how much information she went through. No? On February 10, she went through 32 pages on my website. 32 pages. If let's say I didn't, optimize the conversion of my Facebook page, of my e-commerce platform, if I didn't provide sufficient information, imagine mo, at 2:18 p.m., let's say I'm having a talk right now, and somebody sends a message to my Facebook or my website and asks for certain information about my product. And of course, I cannot do it kasi nagtatalk ako sa inyo ngayon. Chances are, I'm gonna miss the sale. I'm gonna miss this 2,000 peso transaction. So look at what she went through. Tinignan niya different products ko, Of course, she's reading the product description. She added to cart yung product na yun, and then she added another to the cart. You know, she searched for something na nakita niya na gustuhan niya. Okay, hindi niya mahanap siguro, so that's why she searched it. Then hanap niya finally, and she checked out other products again. Then finally added to cart. Okay? Then she checked out? Hindi pa. She went back again to my web page for another 22 sessions. So imagine how much information she was trying to digest, trying to check out if it's really worth her money. Imagine if you don't have so much information on your web page, on your e-commerce platform, on your social media page. Ganitong oras, 5:21 p.m., probably nag-exercise ka, may meeting ka sa mga tao mo. You have another chance, you're at risk of missing the sale again. Okay? In my case, at 5:29 p.m., she made the purchase. So she checked out, okay? And then, yeah. So why am I showing this to you? The reason is, okay, yung nakita nyo kanina, what you saw earlier is just her actions, her activity within my website. What she did when she did her research on Google. Nung nag-research siya sa Facebook, nung nag-research siya sa Instagram, ano pa kaya tingin mo nangyari doon? And that's why it's important for you to really integrate to automate your business, to make sure na may kita niyo certain information. I prepared to you an example of what Carabao looks like. No? So, yeah, I prepared the page for Carabao. In here. Okay, I'll try to minimize it. Okay, so this is what Carabao looks like now. I'll share the page again. Here. So this is Carabao. So this is yung back end ng Carabao. So after you sign up, madali lang siya i-set up. You create your product, you add your products here. Ginawa ko, for example, I created my product here, inserted an image, product name, the different variants or SKUs, the sizes, and the prices for each variants. So imagine, kung hindi mo magagawa yan, if you're doing it manually, gaano ka-toxic yun, Instead of serving 3 customers in an hour, you're probably just serving 1-2 customers in an hour because you're not automated, you're not integrating your business. And then, you can also do the inventory, which is yun na rin yun. Okay? Yung nakita mo kanina here. And then, you can also create an order form. Let's say somebody asks you on Facebook, gusto ko yung collar, gusto ko yung pabango na binibenta nyo. You can create an order, send the order form. And you can also set up your payment channels by, different, integrate na yung payment channels. So if somebody pays you through PayPal, through GCash, through PayMaya, or coins, or probably over the account through bank transfer, you can integrate it. And matatanggap na yun ang bank account mo. Instead of you checking your bank account online, buti kung may online yung bank account mo. If not, you have to get the bank's, statement from the bank to verify yung transaction. And you can also offer cash on delivery. So it's integrated, it's automated in a way. Instead of you serving just 1 or 2 customers in an hour, you can probably serve 3 or 4 customers. Yung previous talk namin during the first, the first talk, some customers were hesitant for the 500 peso monthly subscription. You went into business. You didn't go into business to save money. You went into business to make money. So wag kayo manghinayang sa 500 pesos. If that 500 pesos can generate me more, 2,000 pesos more per hour in revenue, then I would happily pay for the 500 pesos. Then, not pay 500 pesos and I probably generate 1,000 pesos every hour. So I'd rather pay for the 500 pesos monthly subscription. And I have the opportunity to sell more, to make more money, to grow my business. That is why when we talk about e-commerce, it's important to let the technology work for you. hindi po pwedeng ikaw maging alila ng technology. In the same way, how I made technology work for me while I'm doing something else, I easily made 2,200 pesos without having any, what do you call this? Manual intervention. She didn't bother me. She didn't send me a message. Hindi ko sinasabing magiging ganito agad if you do it on Carabao, but what I'm trying to say is you have to minimize, the amount of manual work that you'd have to do when you're doing business online, and instead let technology work for you. So I'm going back to our presentation to share you what are the other practical tips, to grow your business online. So nakita niyo yung back-end operation. This, like in traditional setting, this is the space behind your retail space. Ito yung kahera, ito yung stock room, ito yung opisina. Ang e-commerce mo, hindi porket e-commerce ka, wala kang back-end. Of course, you still have a back-end. And if you're still using pen and paper, sinasayang mo yung technology na karamihan ay libre or karamihan ay napaka-affordable naman. What is 500 cost compared to having, a shop? Kahit sa liblib pa na barangay na probinsya yan, I doubt if you can find a 500 peso monthly rent to run your business. In this case, you pay only 500 pesos per month and you can efficiently run your business professionally and more scalable. So now I thought share with you yung peer-to-peer selling. What is the other option for you to take your business online? These are the marketplace portals. So very familiar tayo sa Lazada, sa Zalora, sa Beauty Manila, sa Etsy, sa Foodpanda. Now that's why I told you kanina, it's important for you to identify who are your target market, so you will know which marketplace portals or portal is more advantageous to you. It's easy to say na why not create an account on all these several platforms. Hindi siya ganun kadali. Okay? In fact, if you're just starting, I suggest you begin with one muna or two kung kaya mo dalawa. But of course, you also have to run a social media page. Kailangan mo rin gawin yung product development mo, yung production ng goods mo, suppliers and everything. If you have, may mga tao ka naman, but hindi pa rin may tao ka, you think they can effectively run these pages. That's why it's important for you to assess internally yung digital capabilities ng organization mo. So I suggest you start with one or two portals muna. For example, if you go to sell on Lazada, anybody can sell on Lazada. I'm not saying anybody na wala siyang requirements. Yung mga requirements very basic, but it's like the SM of e-commerce portals. So you can find anything under the sun on Lazada, except probably for food. On Zalora, this is a mid to upmarket fashion online shop. Mamaya pakita ko ano yung mga differences niya. And then Beauty Manila, specialized beauty and cosmetic marketplace for women. And then Etsy, this is an artisan, unique handicrafts of accessories, clothing, and furniture. And lastly, you have Foodpanda. So I'll share lang an example of what a typical Etsy product na makikita mo. Katulad niyan. These are the typical products you can sell on Etsy. Handmade, very artisan, very unique. So if you think you have a product that's very unique, walang kapareho, kayo mismo gumawa niyan. It's your innovation, it's your design ingenuity. I encourage you to go on Etsy. Okay? So for Lazada, very simple onboarding process. You create a seller account, you add products, you manage, and you deliver. So very simple. Those are key 4 basic elements. You find traffic. How do you find traffic on Lazada? Mamaya, after this, papakita ko. And then you optimize it for conversion by adding products, optimizing for certain keywords. Instead of saying alpha collar, in case of my product, probably I would put dog collar kasi yun yung tinatype ng mga Lazada shoppers sa Lazada. Dog collar, hindi alpha collar. Alpha collar is a brand name of my product. Manage, you have to optimize your store online. So Lazada kasi para siyang may mga KPIs. So, okay, and then you deliver. I'll share with you how you do it on Lazada. Okay, here. So on Lazada, this is the back end of Lazada. So in Lazada, it's like point system siya. You have to optimize your page. You have to hit certain parameters or KPIs for you to be visible or be listed more prominently on Lazada. So kagaya niya, learn how to decorate a good product page, etc. There are also, these are challenges, no? So bigyan ka ng challenges. and traffic, how do you generate traffic on Lazada? Okay, I'm gonna click. Okay, I'll click this first. Okay, I'll refresh it. So, sa Lazada, ang e-commerce platform kasi, the way I would like to describe it, it's like a search engine within a website. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Parang nasa Google, pag ang user, ang Lazada shopper, para sila nagpunta sa Google search engine on Lazada. So sa front end ng Lazada, ito ang makikita mo. Okay, sige, later I'll show you. Pero sa back end, how do you really generate traffic? You have to do some seller picks, you know. You have to hit certain parameters for you to be visible. Okay? Yung mga ganyan, you don't have access because you have to establish seller rating, available products, instant messaging. So you have to hit certain KPIs for you to be visible. Or you can also join some promotional campaigns to be visible. The thing with Lazada is very discount driven. So the more discount you give, the more favor that they give you in terms of visibility and listing. So pag pumunta ka kasi sa Lazada, if I'm shopping on Lazada, ganito yan, parang siyang search engine, parang siyang Google. Okay, what you will see is a search bar. So I'm looking for something, let's say I'm looking for a disinfectant. Lalo ngayon, it's very important to disinfect. No? You know, parang Google yan. Sabi nila sa Google, you will only be successful if you will land in the first page of the search results. The same with Lazada. If I don't see you probably in the first 4 or 5 pages, the chances of you being, you know, of you selling on Lazada is very small. What if you're on the 102nd page? What if you're on the 80th page? Nobody will click or go through all the 80 listings of Lazada just to buy a disinfectant. You see, you only have what? 4, probably, you have 374,000 listings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 40 listings only. Kasama na to, seller picks. Ito yung nakita ko kanina seller picks. So meron kang priority listing here if you hit certain parameters. Pero if not, you only have 40 spots available for you to sell disinfectants. Okay, what if you're a small business, you're not like Lysol, you're not like all these other brands, what are your chances of you, you're not Clorox, you're not Mr. Muscle, what are the chances of you selling a disinfectant on Lazada? Yun ang ibig ko sabihin. That's why in my slide earlier, it's important for you to also, not because you have a Lazada already, you don't optimize your social media page or your other web presence for doing transactions or integrating your e-commerce business. Kasi most of the time, you also generate your own organic traffic, your own community. You make your own community, you make your own audience on your other web channels, on your other social media pages. That is why with Lazada, hindi siya enough. Okay? Not just because you're on Lazada, you think you can effectively sell your business. Hindi. You have to be omni-channel, yung tinatawag natin. Because sometimes people, you know, for certain products, you know, people go on Lazada because they have a high intent to buy. I'm not going to Lazada because I'm trying to browse. I'm trying to, you know, get, you know, be entertained, you know, because I'm bored. I go to Facebook, I go to Instagram. So if you're not optimizing your Instagram page, your Facebook page for your e-commerce, you're not integrating, then you miss on a lot of opportunities. Yun yung ibig ko sabihin. So that is why it's important, lalo kung wala ka pang sariling website, it's important for you to optimize your peer-to-peer selling platform and your marketplace portals. So, paano ba sa Lazada? You sell something for, let's say, 100 pesos, the cost of goods, let's say, is 30 pesos. Lazada charges a seller fee of, let's say, 10 pesos. So, and then the delivery, let's say, it's shouldered by the customer. In this case, let's say if I'm selling something for 1,000 pesos. So the cost of good is 300 pesos, you know, seller fee, let's say it's 70 pesos, and the delivery fee is 80 pesos. So that's how you get the gross profit. The difference with the traditional business probably is you're more familiar with this one: selling price, cost of goods, and, you know, bottom line. wala ka masyadong variable cost. The only variable cost is your cost of goods. But in e-commerce, maraming variable cost because most of the time, listing your business on Lazada, wala namang sign-up membership or rent fee dyan, or listing fee. You only pay them whenever you make a transaction. That's why it's a variable cost. So difference in traditional business, you can easily predict your overhead expenses. With e-commerce platforms, it's variable. Depende. The more you sell, the more you incur expenses or overhead expenses. So what are the typical Lazada seller fees to consider? 0 to 5% commission fee, depende sa type of account that you open, 2.25% service fee, and 1% order fee. So approximately a maximum of 7.24% seller fee. So when you list your product, it's important that when you do your pricing, you have to consider the 7.24% variable cost to your pricing. So you only incur expenses when you make a successful sale. Yun ang maganda doon. No upfront investment. Libre. Okay? I'll share again another platform. Okay? So I'll probably share with you Etsy. So this is what Etsy looks like. No, it's more or less the same with Lazada. No, but the essence is the same. You have a dashboard, you have a listing page, and you can pause your orders here. What are the typical products that you can find on Etsy? Okay, typically what you will find here are artisan products. If I'm looking for a dog collar, I think this the front end. I will have to log out. Okay, so let's say if I'm looking for let's say a mask, kasi yan mga handmade yan. I'm looking for a mask. Then I probably won't see the typical mask that you would find here na binebenta commonly on social media. So I will find very unique items. And the thing with Etsy, depende sa target market mo, is you can sell it a little higher. Mas maganda ang margin of profit mo, etc. And I will also show you a Zalora. So if you're selling something fashionable, something chic, ganito rin sa Zalora. What you will find here are let's say essentials. So the thing with Zalora kasi, when you want to sign up for Zalora, you have to wala siyang page here na you can easily sign up, just give your email address, set the password, and may account ka na. You really have to send them a message. Okay. If you want to be a seller, okay, sige, click ko dito. Oops. If you want to be a seller, okay, this is what you will do. So normally you would contact Seller Center. So, yan. Oops. Anyway, we won't waste some time. Pakita ko muna yung front end ng Zalora. So, this is what you will find on Zalora. Okay, items na ganito. With Zalora kasi, they're very strict, no? But they're more regulated in terms of merchant sign-ups. You cannot easily sign up by just, signing up na click lang na, you enter your email address and the password. Will sign up na. You have to talk to an account manager, discuss with you, and they would give you different, agreements or MOA depending on your business or your brand. So, for example, if let's say my products are relatively cheaper, so they will make the terms easier. For my products na medyo mahal, let's say ganitong ililist nila na. So, case-to-case basis. Pero huwag kayo matakot na mag-sign up. Because, what's the advantage of having such sign-up procedure? It also helps your brand. If you're a merchant who's protecting your brand, you're protecting your product or service, ayaw mong gusto mong magkaroon ng certain exclusivity, magkaroon ng certain brand image, then you probably won't want to sign up at Zalora. Kasi parang yan magtatayo ka ng tindahan sa let's say a department store. Kung gusto mo yung katabi mo mga medyo, alam mo na, medyo sosh, medyo maganda, medyo high-end, you would probably consider putting up your brand. If it's a department store, in Rustan's instead of, let's say, Gaisano department store. Because gusto mo, yung katabi mong mga brands is mga magaganda rin. It also uplifts your image. Kasi yung mga katabi mong brands, mga maganda, mahal din ang presyo or whatnot. No? And minsan, that's part of your overall branding strategy. So if you think yun yung isa sa mga requirements mo, if you don't like being, putting in the same breath with other, super affordable products, you might want to consider Zalora. So mas mahirap mag-sign up. Di naman sobrang hirap, but an account manager will help you go through it. Tuturuan ka niya, coach ka niya paano gamitin to, paano optimize to. And, it's certain exclusivity. Parang, if I want to be a seller, let's say, in MOA, hindi ka basta-basta makapunta ng MOA. The leasing officer will, interview you, will check your company profile before they award you an award notice for the lease of contract. So, ganun din sa Zalora, ganun din sa, sa ibang e-commerce platform. So, it's very important. Babalik ulit ako. Could not emphasize it more. Not for you to know your customer, so you would know where to put your business, where to list it. Dapat ka ba nasa Zalora? Dapat ka ba nasa Shopee? Dapat ka ba nasa Foodpanda? Stuff like that. And most importantly, huwag kayo makontento. Kung nandiyan na kayo sa Foodpanda, you still have to make your presence felt on other social media pages. Hindi lang presence, you have to integrate your e-commerce backend. So it's such a way that you can manage your lead, manage yung mga inquiries, yung mga interested buyers from your other digital marketing efforts. Okay? So the last but not the least, the holy grail of e-commerce platform is having your own website. So we'll not discuss all of these things, kasi medyo technical siya. But I think the most important of it all is yung sustainability and the brand image. The same way in traditional setting, kanina sabi natin peer-to-peer selling is like casually selling in your office mate, probably in your neighborhood, in your school, if you're a student. E-commerce platforms is like listing your product or having your product available in a department store, whether that is SM department store, Rustan's super department store, Gaisano, Robinson's department store, or having your own website. In my analogy, in a traditional setting, this is like having your own store. Now, you can now individualize the shopping experience of your customer. You can now set the right ambience for your store. You can use daylight or warm light. You can probably set the temperature of your aircon. You can choose the right tiles for your retail space. You can choose the uniform of your sales attendants. You can choose how to display your products, whether you display all the stocks up front or you only display certain items and keep the rest sa stock room. So ganun din sa website. You can individualize. You can maintain a certain brand image, and most importantly, sustainability, because you are in full control of the marketing funnel from lead generation to customer relationship. So baka medyo technical sa inyo yan. So sa madaling salita, hawak mo yung customer mo, una ka nilang makita hanggang sa huli, kahit after nilang bumili, you still maintain contact with them because you have your own website, you're in full control. Sometimes you cannot do that in certain platforms. That's the beauty of having your own website. And as you go along in your digital marketing training, you will learn later on what is the marketing funnel in digital marketing. So having a website is somewhat, intimidating kasi you think you would have to hire a web developer to put up your own website. Not anymore. Kaya sabi ko, I keep insisting, the democratization of e-commerce. Now you can finally put up your own website with no to minimal coding skills required. You can use Wix, you can use Shopify, WooCommerce, or BigCommerce. For starters, I would suggest yung Shopify. It's very simple, drag and drop. Like I can easily put my shop button here, I can put my product image here, as in drag and drop. Ganun lang siya kadali. And you go to the Shopify website to learn more about your services. And you can finally have your website. And do you have to pay for having a website? Hindi. Again, sabi ko nga sa inyo, mas mahal pa rin kaysa nagme-maintain ka ng sariling brick and mortar store mo. For a recommended plan of Shopify, you can just pay for 2,700 pesos a month. A monthly fee. And you can already have your own website that's already inclusive of a domain name, web hosting, all the e-commerce function, basic e-commerce functionalities that you will need, payment gateway, delivery, etc. So, magkano babayaran mo siya? Okay, may monthly, binabayaran ka na 2,700, but you're also paying a certain percentage for every sale. So, I made an approximation. If you're selling 200,000 pesos monthly in your e-commerce website, your estimated monthly maintenance fee for your e-commerce is only 12,700 pesos. It's less than 5%. So, or more or less 5%. So, kahit magtayo ka ng brick and mortar store mo, a brick and mortar store that will generate you 200,000 monthly sales, I doubt if you can find a leasing space for 2,700 pesos only a month. That's the beauty about e-commerce. Yung overhead expenses mo is minimized. For starters na nagsisimula magnegosyo, at least you can manage your expenses more than having your own physical shop, and you have a chance to sell more because the internet is a borderless space. You can sell to somebody from Hong Kong, you can sell to somebody from Puerto Princesa, from Davao, from Cebu. Yun ang maganda sa e-commerce. So what are the differences between marketplace portals and having your own website? Dito nyo makikita yung differences, okay? Having a peer-to-peer selling platform is more or less same as own website because you're also in control. But in terms of traffic, marketplace portals have their own built-in target audience. Parang sa department store, pag first day mo sa department store, you already have your first customer or you already have your first lead. You're already generating awareness for your brand. As opposed to having your own website, it's like in a traditional setting, having your own store. What are the chances of somebody opening that door, the front door of your store, to check on your products? Unless you're a store of, let's say, Apple or Nike, na talagang very established brand. But for starters, nagsisimula, MSMEs, how do you generate traffic? That's why you have to do the digital marketing activities, either organic or paid traffic to the website. For the advantage, I'll give it to marketplace portals for the instant traffic. But in terms of long-term, okay, long-term sustainability, I would still go for having my own website. Because in this case, I would not rely on a third party to generate my product or my brand, its target audience or its traffic. Unlike ako, I can generate my own traffic, lalo if you can do it, excellently. Then, it's limitless. The opportunities are limitless. Next, marketing and brand building. So, in terms of, promotions, like if wala kang time, really to run some promotions online on Facebook, certain gimmicks. On a short-term ren, I would give the advantage to marketplace portals kasi you can easily join some, promotions doon sa nakita niyo sa dashboard kanina. You can click something there sa discount. They will give you priority listing sa search results. If you're having your own website, you have to manage multiple ads and search engine optimization through different digital marketing channels. What are different digital marketing channels? I also prepared a diagram of what the digital marketing space is nowadays. This is today's marketing channel. It's multi-channel. Before, meron tayo tri-media and yung mga below-the-line activities, like print, TV, and ad. Print, TV, and and radio. Ngayon, in digital marketing, you have mobile, ito yung makikita sa mga website, yung makikita yung mga pictures, email, social media, SEO, and search or PPC. So, in order for you to generate traffic in your website, you have to manage all these ads for you to generate traffic. If you're running a marketplace portal, the marketplace portal itself is already managing this for you. They're running campaigns, yung mga 11/11 sale. Ganyan, di ba? They're running that on YouTube, they're running it on Facebook. So they're generating traffic for you. As opposed, if you have your own website, you have to do this yourself. In a traditional setting, how do you do this? Okay, probably may namimigay ng flyer sa jeepney terminal dun sa kabilang kanto. Let's say, if you're in a canteen, probably namimigay ka ng leaflets sa entrance ng school or sa school bus. Okay? If you're, let's say, a gym, okay? Probably you will have some free, membership on the first month. So In the same sense, sa digital, you have to manage all these other channels for you to generate traffic. So it's important na hindi po pwedeng sa Lazada ka lang available. Kasi Lazada is like a search engine within a website. If you're only available here, okay, especially your e-commerce, you have a social media page and you cannot effectively sell on your social media, then you're missing the opportunity because there are a lot of other spaces, okay, in internet business that you have to be present in for you to generate traffic and ultimately revenue. So go back to my original slide. So in terms of marketing, brand building, for somebody who's just starting a new business or who's just starting to learn e-commerce, I'd give marketplace portals. But for the long term, I would still give yung website. Ease of launching, definitely lamang dito si marketplace portals. In terms of sales, for the short term, you can easily make quick sales here because on the first day, you have a high chance of somebody buying from you kasi may traffic on the website. Long-term profitability ang mas maganda dito. No commission fees that you have to be paid. Versatility and scalability, I'd give it to a website. So, those are different platforms of e-commerce. Okay? My only message is, especially if hindi ka pa familiar sa e-commerce, sa digital marketing, huwag kayo matakot. Okay? E-commerce is just selling. Just so happen, it's happening online. If you were able to create your own Facebook profile, your own Facebook account, if your friends have their own Facebook account, if some of you have your Instagram account, your YouTube account, it's more or less the same. You know how people behave on Facebook, you know how people behave on YouTube, on Instagram, you know how people behave on Lazada. And it's important for you to really get to know your customer on how to really reach them, how to sell to them. Ganun lang yun. Huwag kayo matakot. Do not let technology scare you. You should let technology work for you. That's the beauty of e-commerce. So lastly, but not the least, make a self-assessment of your digital capabilities, then decide which platform to begin with based on your assessment. So you don't have to pressure yourself to put up your own website immediately. Wala namang masama to start with peer-to-peer selling or marketplace portals. You can always improve later on. It's not a linear process though, but you can do it, by bits and pieces, and you scale it up as you grow your confidence, as you grow your business. So, kung may mga questions kayo, I think later na somebody will speak after me. So, thank you so much.